Well, now it's Sunday after church. I'm going to do a little cleanup here so I can get back to things. And it's raining. So I think what I'm going to do, I need to get this thing out of the back of this truck. And I think I'm going to put it on the test stand and see if I can make it live again. Fire it up maybe. Well, got that motor out of the back of that truck. I'm going to mount it up on the test stand here and see if we can't fire it up. But it looks like I need to clean some dirt daubers out of some bell housing bolt holes. Well, we couldn't have it be real easy now, could we? See there? Somebody's been hammering on that oil filter previously, trying to get it off. What do you want to bet? I'll have a struggle too. But I bet I can do it. I'm up to the challenge. Some purist will probably be mad at me, but I'm going to break out the Sawzall and cut that off right there. It's okay, I've already had to cut it on this side to clear a starter one time. It's probably a super rare, valuable bell housing, but I don't know no better. So I'm going to cut that corner off. It's hitting the crossover right there. And I don't want to do too much to this thing. I just want to hear it run. Alright, now before I set the motor on here, I'm going to try my hand at radiator repair. I've never done this before. So let's see how it goes. I got some flux and I got some solder. I got a torch, so ought to be easy, right? Well, I don't know if it's watertight, but it's in there. That's kind of tricky business. It heats up fast. Anyways, that's the first installment on that. Anyway, let's see what happens when we get water in it. Well, I got the thing on the stand, and I got two things. One problem I thought was going to be a big problem isn't. Got out my chisel and my fairly large hammer and give it a little tap, and it's loose. But then the one I was hoping wouldn't happen, throttle linkage is stuck. I don't know if I got another carburetor around here I can just slap on it. Maybe I do. Let me dig around. Alright, here's the carb I pulled off the 283 on the stand. She ain't looking too good in there. I blame rodents in their bathroom behavior. But I had this one on that little 283 over there in the corner, and this one looks pretty nice. This one may run. Bolted on. I just got to find a gasket. I don't suppose I got one of them, but you never know. Let me look. Alright, I was right. I don't have one, but I'm going to make one right fast. I'm going to use that to punch. If I can figure out what I did with my hole. Oh, I didn't mark them yet. Punch my two holes through the gasket, which is an old 38 special shell. And then these ones go through these holes up here, so I'm just going to make them a little bit bigger and use a 44 mag. Guess I don't need to use the 50 cal at the moment. And then what you do is you just lay it up there like that. Take your hammer and tap it till it punches a hole, and then you got a little coupon left over. This gasket material is pretty thick, but see there? It just goes up in there like that. Works pretty slick. If you ain't allowed to have these things around, I don't know how else you do it. Oh yeah, one little cautionary note. You'll want to make sure the primer has been fired, which you've got an empty case. Chances are it has been fired before you go whacking on it with a hammer, or you'll have a little surprise and it'll be pretty loud. Alright, there's one gasket, and I think it'll work for my purposes. It should be a steel lined gasket because there's exhaust gases that come up through here to heat the carburetor up, but this will work for what I'm doing. Alright, I'm just going to see if it'll turn over without getting stuck. I could turn it by hand a little bit anyways. Well, a little bit I could by hand. There's no spark plugs in it. That's a good sign. I did spray some lube in the cylinders. I'm going to do that again. And I'm going to put an HEI distributor in it so that it's easier to crank than that old points distributor. And I still got to rig up gas supply and maybe some better plugs. I'll bring you back as soon as I get my mind right. Good news is the old starter works, so I ain't got to fool with that. Let me get after the rest of it here. Let me try that again. I think I just didn't video it. I went to loosen that bolt right there to take the distributor out and realized the little clamps broke. Hope that's not a bad sign. Sometimes those distributors get stuck. Well, it ain't stuck, but it sure is tight. I just put those babies on it and could barely wiggle it. Well, I kind of hate to do it. I was wanting to pull that out and prime the oil system one time. That thing is in there. I can barely move it. So I think what I'm going to do is file the points and leave it where it is and see if I can make it run with points. I ought to be able to do that, hadn't I? Oh, and if you're a new hire at a parts store and some dude walks in, probably got gray hair and a funny look in his eye, and asks for a points file, that's a points file. See, it's small, just right for points, which is why he wants it. Alright, I've been fooling with it. I couldn't get very good spark for a while, and I dug around and found another set of used points. And I realized at that time there was no condenser in there. I've been fighting with it, no condenser in there. Anyways, I just had some old plugs, and that's what I put in there. All I can get it to do is pop a little bit. But I'm tired. It's like 7 o'clock, so I think I'm going to go in the house. I hate to buy new plugs for it, but you know, I can use them in something else. I got a couple other things around here. So I think that's what I'm going to do. Get some plugs. I think it'll run. I think. But in the meantime, let me ring the bell. And I'm going to go in the house. There's a card that came off it. It's the original carburetor. Even got the tag on it. That's where I got my spark plugs from. I shouldn't expect much, should I? I didn't put those in it though. Maybe I'll just go ahead and throw those away. Alright, don't forget to check out MrHeavyChevy.com, where you can buy stuff like this, and you can buy that if I ever get it done. And you know, I don't have the wife's talent at this. I have to study on it a while. And wake up, sleep on it, wake up with a good idea, you know, that kind of thing. And I use my quieter battery charger this time. Hope you all appreciate it. Come back next time when I have another thrilling video. See you for now. Bye. It might look like my shop's on fire, but it's not. I got that 283 to run for a second or so, too. Actually, maybe a little bit longer than that. I've had a time with that thing. The cylinders were, I sprayed oil in them. Somebody must have done that before me, because it was full of goop. Two of the spark plugs were packed full of goop. I finally got it to fire. The distributor's stuck and it was out of time. I have had a challenge, but I got it to run. Oh, let's just try it again. Turn our fuel pump on and probably watch it spray fuel. It's not gonna, I'm gonna turn the fuel pump off anyways. Power on. Alright, let's layer up one more time. I advanced the timing a little bit more using these. Let's give it a little fuel pump. Ignition. Quick, don't it? That's okay. I don't have any coolant in it anyway, so we don't want to run it too long. I hate the little man had to miss it, but he had some studying to do, he said. And school always takes priority. I'm going to pull the plugs. I don't doubt that one of them is clogged with greasy snot. It ain't firing. It sounded like it wasn't hitting on all late, but it idled okay. This carburetor is one I just took off that other 283. Hooked the fuel pump up, and it first shot fuel out the vent. I whacked it with my handy ratchet to fix that problem. It even idles. Huh. Alright, I'm going to quit jabbering. How do you like my vacuum plug? That's right, I said I was going to quit jabbering. And it had 50 pounds of oil pressure running. Probably need to change the oil. It's mostly the oil that was in the engine.